Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Movie and a Hunt. Today, we're going to be focusing on Friday the 13th, Part 3, directed by Stephen Miner. And I just fucked up. That's great. Cut the recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Movie and a Hunt, the season of slashers. I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige.
And today, we are going to continue our venture through Friday the 13th with Friday the 13th Part 3, released in 1982 and directed by Steve Miner. This movie is mostly known for the one having 3D magic.
Ooh.
Ooh. 3D! Before I interrogate you, about this movie and about why you don't like it, and I think I know why you don't like it.
Oh.
Let's talk about this trailer.
Sure. Yeah. You'll be shocked to know that I actually like this trailer the most.
I was going to say, I feel like this seemed more like a trailer than the other two movies.
So we did some counting, but at the end, and it wasn't as obnoxious.
I thought we were going to escape the countdown. I was like, oh, it's not, I was wrong. It doesn't go to part 4.
No.
Then it happened at the end. And I was like, oh, fuck me.
The movie has a number in the title. They're going to continue this. What I got from this is the visuals they use, trash. That's fine. My favorite part was the audio and the script for the theatrical trailer. I feel like it had such great catchphrases and sayings that have to do with the movie. So if this was playing on the radio, as an advertisement, I'd be like, ooh, this sounds good. I'm going to go see this movie.
I felt like every pun in this movie was just about it being in 3D. Like, Jason is coming after you. Crazy, right?
That's kind of the campiness that I love. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I get it, but also this movie leans so hard into being 3D.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's leaning so hard.
But that was the whole point of it, kind of. But we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah. So, like I just mentioned a minute or so ago, you don't like this movie.
I do not.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't love it as much as I did the first time I watched it.
Really?
Is the reason you hate this rhyme with the word smelly?
No, but that's it. That is a big part of it.
That's a big part.
But
that's a huge part.
No, it's just the overall movie, honestly.
Oh, you're so wrong.
Is this
how does it feel being a person who likes boring horror movies? You like
I know this. I know this about myself.
Oh god, I'm so scared. I hope you realize if you hate part 6, there's gonna be something, something's gonna go down.
We'll see if we even make it past episode 3 here, if the rift is too big between us after
we'll
this.
Make it. Part of me is like, well, part 4 is next, and initially I was like, oh, I can't wait till we both burn it. Like, you know what? She may like it, and it may be for the better, because I don't want part 4 to be the first movie in which we both just rip into it, and not being funny, just genuinely.
Just it's just absolute garbage.
It's awful. But before we get to that,
yes,
we have to get through part 3.
Oh god.
I will say, I have 8 pages of notes. This is the most amount of notes I've ever taken on a movie.
Oh boy.
So strap in for a long one.
Let's go.
I still don't know half of these characters' names. And I have made a rule that if the movie does not say a character's name, I'm not researching the character's name. They have a nickname.
Completely understandable.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do this. All right. So we start this movie, just like we started the last movie, with a full-on recap of the ending of part 2.
6 minutes, by the way.
It's 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes of recap.
The only note I have is I remember in the last episode I asked, oh, did Jason scratch Ginny's leg or did Ginny scratch her own leg? Jason scratched her leg.
Yes, but what was interesting is that this completely retconned that end of 2. You know, where her and Paul get back to the office. Because it cuts, or whatever the hell, it cuts that out.
But it shows Jason getting up.
Correct.
So he got up to go to them.
But we didn't see that part.
True. Did we? Oh, no, because they went straight to her head, the Mrs. Voorhees head.
Yeah.
That is true.
Because the logo, the 3D logo, comes out of Mrs. Voorhees' eyes.
My next note is 3D title card with Mrs. Voorhees' head, and we get some funky bass.
I said...
Funky bass.
Groovy horror was the genre I called it.
Groovy horror.
It felt like I was part of the Mystery Machine with the Mystery Gang.
100%.
Scooby-Doo was right next to me. We were having a great time.
I love the theme for this movie. It's so fun.
It's definitely different. I like it, but
I like it.
It doesn't fit for me.
We open at Crystal Lake Diner, and we have a bickering couple. The guy's name is Harold, and the other one's name is Wifey, because I'm pretty sure we never got her name.
Yeah, I think it's just wife.
Also, I want to bring this up now.
Okay.
Have you seen in the Friday movies, like, they will say the guys' characters' names like 50 times in the movie? And I feel like if you are not the final girl, you do not get your name used more than like 3 times at most.
Thank you, misogyny.
But here's the thing. I'm like, is that misogyny? Because I was like, that's such a... Of all the things you could be like, I'm going to be misogynistic about this, not saying the girl's name, I'm pretty sure is the weird line.
Who knows? But it's a little weird that it's a trend.
It is. And then I'm also like, but the girl characters are never put in the situation where their name can be used naturally.
Yeah, that's true.
It's such a weird thing I've noticed after this movie. Harold leaves and the wife goes back to her like small cabin.
Yeah.
And we get part 2 on the news.
Yes, we do.
God,
if we didn't just see the 6-minute recap, you get the information through the television.
They really want to drill
like, you need to know what just happened.
She is alive. Wifey hears a sound, and she sees Jason walking through the clothes line. Is it a clothes line?
Yeah, with the laundry, which is a callback to Michael and Halloween.
And a future call forward to Pennywise.
Oh, God, let's not.
In It.
Let's not.
Wifey goes out, she grabs some clothes, and she is just throwing them in. She is
furious.
wrinkling her own clothes. And she follows Jason as she sees him enter like the main barn looking area, and she nopes the hell out of there.
Probably,
like,
probably the smartest thing that woman has ever done.
It only extended her lifetime by like 15 minutes.
It's definitely smarter than marrying that Harold guy, that's for sure.
Oh, God. By the way, did you see that like Harold's actor was wearing an obvious fat suit?
No.
He had a fat suit.
Oh, why?
I noticed it when he was taking a shit and how like he had like so much layers. I was like, oh, it's a fat suit.
That's such a weird thing to spend your money on in a horror movie.
We go to the main, like the shop. We finally get to like their job.
It's like a grocery store?
Kind of.
Sort of.
Harold is feeding some goldfish and then he eats some of the fish food. Harold is disgusting.
I have a note that says, "This guy is disgusting. Please kill him, Jason."
I wish he didn't kill him when he killed him. I wish he killed him before he got to the bathroom.
Oh, me too. I didn't need to see all of that.
Jason is seen through the store's glass just looking at Harold. And he walks away. Harold's rabbit is sleeping in some vegetables.
I love the rabbit. Oh my god, it was so
I
cute.
love the rabbit, but I was also like, dude, keep an eye on your fucking animals.
Yeah.
Harold gets the rabbit, being like, get out of the product. And then he proceeds to eat like 5 different things of product, it looked like.
Yeah, he does. And then he was putting it back in with the rest of the product. I was like, oh
so
my
disgusting.
god.
Wifey comes in and shames Harold, but not for the right reason. She's like, you need to lose weight. I'm like, how about you just ask him to take the fat suit off? I'm pretty sure you can lose that weight pretty quickly.
I liked the jump scare with the wife, though. That got me. I was like, oh god, when she showed up.
The jump scare that got me happens in like a minute from now.
Was it with the snake prop?
It's the snake.
Oh god.
The snake got me.
All right.
2 jump scares got me. It was this one and then the one with the stoner characters later on in the movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That one got me really good because I was taking a note and I was not expecting it when I was taking my note. Harold gets to the garage from earlier after getting shamed by Wifey, and he goes inside and he goes to put the rabbit back in the cage with the other rabbits. He sees the other rabbits are dead, and there's this fucking snake. And I just got chills up my spine saying that.
The snake prop was horrible.
Oh, it was horrible, but the thing is, I hate snakes. So
okay,
it's not
so...
like it can be a fake snake. I don't care.
I didn't understand why it literally scared the shit out of Harold.
Why it jumped at him or why it scared him specifically?
No, like right after he had to run to the bathroom from the jump scare. That was the weirdest thing. Jump
scare, fish food, donut. It's a lot of mix.
Sure.
It's a lot of mix. Harold runs away, and the next time we see him, he is taking a shit in a gross-ass bathroom.
Ooh, that outhouse is nasty.
That outhouse was so gross. And he has like a bottle of whiskey hidden in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's definitely gonna, stop you from shitting.
That actually reminds me of the scene with the sorority mom in Black Christmas. She has like bottles of whiskey hidden when, like, I think one's in the bathroom, one's in a bookcase or something like that.
You know what's great? I have not seen that. Like, I haven't seen that movie, and we are watching that in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Sorry, in 4 weeks, 2 more episodes.
Yes.
Harold searches the bathroom because he gets suspicious. And he is killed by a meat cleaver to the head when he opens up the door to the outside.
Ouch.
There goes Harold, only the second most unlikable character in this movie.
Yep.
Oh, God. Wifey hears something in the bathroom. She goes to search it. And here's the thing. If your husband is not in the bathroom and he was in there like a few seconds ago, get the fuck out of the bathroom.
When you're in a horror movie, there's no such thing as logic.
I hope you realize I live my life like I'm in a constant horror movie.
You do. They don't.
Yeah. I had a friend once literally be like, he thought someone may be in the house, so he grabbed a knife. He was like, stay on the phone with me while I search the house. I'm like, get the fuck in the car. Get in the car. He was like, let me search. I can't let them kill the dogs. And I'm like, fuck the dogs. Get out. This is it. If I hear you being murdered on the phone, it doesn't matter. I'm taking the car and I'm leaving. So I gave you your warning. You're
clearly the final girl.
Yeah, except my car has gas. The entire scenario. And then when they got back to the car, I was like, what the fuck was that? Why did you listen to me? You were the white girl. Wifey, while she's searching the bathroom, we get a rat scare thanks to 3D magic. Ooh. And then she gets stabbed in the back through the window with
that's it.
It's either a pipe or a spear. I couldn't tell which one it was.
Either or, very uneventful.
And we're done with the opening kills.
Yay.
You love this movie.
I love it so much.
Oh, man. We cut to the new group of, in my notes, quote-unquote teens.
Okay.
They are not teens.
One of my notes is,
half of them are 40, half of them are 20.
Yes, I was like, how old is everyone on this trip? I have no idea. One's pregnant, and they don't seem like it's a bad thing, and they're with their guy who I guess they're not married to, whatever. The stoners are like in their mid to late 40s.
Rick has to be 40.
Who's Rick?
That's Chris's lover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right?
He kissed her, and I was like, ew. that's disgusting.
How old is Shelly? Is he supposed to be the teenager, the really annoying one, the one that's the worst character?
I'll once I introduce him in like a few seconds, I'll get into him, because don't worry, this is going to be a very long movie breakdown, I think. Okay. It's going to be me ripping Shelly.
All right, that's completely... I agree with that. But all right, let's get the ball rolling.
We have the stereotypical 3 driving in the front. Every movie so far has had the 3. Mm-hmm. But this time, they are welcomed with the feature of baseball bat mood 3D magic. Ooh. I also have a note. Chris wrote her name on her car door in a very beautiful way.
I feel like that's something of the times, and I was like, oh, all right.
Cool. Also, I love her line, sex, sex, sex. I was like, yes. Thank you for calling this out. We then, the 3 of them are talking to each other. It's Chris, Andy, and then the girl who I have named Sassy Frass because she is so sassy.
She's the pregnant one, right?
What?
She's the pregnant one?
She's the pregnant one.
Yeah.
She's so sassy, and I love her.
You know how I said Mystery Machine in the beginning?
She's Daphne.
Yes, and then there's Fred, and then there's Velma in the front seats.
And then Shaggy and Scooby are the...
in the back. The stoners in the back.
And then Shelly Scrappy.
Yep.
I fucking hate Shelly so much. That's going to be my line this whole entire episode. God, I hate Shelly. We get a fake scare from this movie from Shelly. We get a fake scare from Shelly.
One of
in
many.
A creepy mask. And then we kind of get a little bit of a thing about how these characters are connected. Andy and Shelly are roommates. Mm-hmm. Which this just screams Shelly's just there because Andy feels bad for him.
Oh, clearly.
Because there's no way these two would be friends.
No.
If they were not roommates. God, I hate Shelly. They get to the house door, and Mama opens up. And if Mama had her way, her daughter would still be alive by the end of this movie.
Yep, her daughter didn't.
And she would not have to go on a quote-unquote date with Shelly.
Yes.
Fucking gross. Not... it's his personality. It's his personality. And then the thing of blaming everybody else for what he does.
That's part of his personality in this movie.
Exactly. But the moment where, like, I don't like it because later in the movie they try to give him sympathy, and I don't feel sympathy for him.
Same.
Because I try to put myself in his boots, and I'm like, even if he, even if the thing that they're alluded to is true, that's not a reason to act the way he acts. Mm-hmm. The group, while the girl gets out, and also her name is Girl. She is the most girl character of this movie.
I'm pretty sure her name's Vera.
You heard her name?
Once at the end, because I was so curious. God. I was like, I don't think I heard her name. And then, like, coincidentally, I think they said her name at the end. But I'm not 100% sure on this.
I did not get her name. I was like, oh, you're Girl. Great. The group sees smoke coming out of the van. And also, here's the thing. If you have 2 stoners in your van, you should know what that smoke means.
Yeah.
And through that, we are introduced to the stoners, and those people are 40-year-old hitchhikers. You cannot convince me that they are not.
They're absolute caricatures of, like, the quote-unquote typical stoner type. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. And then my next line. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. Every single time Shelly does something, I have a note that says, God, I hate Shelly, when he's like the lead of the thing. So his entire thing right now is, are you going to smoke weed the entire time? Like, are you going to waste your life? And I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Just let them be. Just let them be.
Oh, fun fact. This was his first and only movie. He's a lawyer now, the guy who plays Shelly.
He's a lawyer. I saw that this was his first movie. I didn't know if he kept doing anything.
Yeah, he's a lawyer now.
Oh, interesting.
One of the girls is pregnant, I guess.
Yeah,
which
Daphne.
she's
We're
like,
calling
I
her
gotta
Daphne.
pee. And I'm like, oh, great. It's Paige. In the movie. Fantastic. And then she's like, what? I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, dear God, if Paige ever gets pregnant, I do not want to be in a car with her.
No.
I feel like 90% of her life will be spent on a freaking toilet.
Every 3 miles, be like, I gotta pee.
God. That is your slogan. I will say, though, the whole, like, oh, what? I'm pregnant thing was a good way to drop that at least the 3 up front are friends.
Yes.
I did believe those 3 knew each other.
The other ones were just like side thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To bring on this trip.
We go back to the car, and I have another God, I fucking hate Shelly line, which means Shelly did more shit. And I think this is the one where he has the box, and he's like, my entire life is in this box. And it turns out it's just like shitty FX.
Yeah.
God, I hate him. They see a cop. The cops start, their sirens are blaring. So the teens decide to start eating.
Are you sure about that?
The quote-unquote teens of this movie. the college seniors decide, you know what we're going to do? We're going to eat it. We're going to eat the weed.
This was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
In my head, I was like, these guys, everyone just ate a little bit of it. There's no way they made it there and did not crash their car at some point.
It was a lot of weed. I'm like, no.
They took handfuls and just shoved it in their mouth.
I'm like, they would be fucking out of it, man. Completely comatose.
Just like, the best way I can picture it for like people listening is like, take a bag of Skittles and unload it fully in your mouth.
Yep.
And then swallow it.
Yep.
That's how much each person took. Besides Sassy Frass, because she's pregnant, and Shelly, because he's Shelly.
Which her guy was trying to give her, like, handfuls of weed. And she's like, what are you thinking? I'm pregnant. And I'm like, yeah, really, dude.
I mean, God. These characters are so weird in this movie. The cops end up passing them, and the teens see the bodies of the beginning kills getting loaded into an ambulance. At that point, I'd be like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
If we're staying like 5 miles away from here and there are people dead over there, we should bounce. The teens continue driving, and they almost run over a guy sleeping in the middle of the road.
In broad daylight.
In broad daylight. Turns out he's just a crazy old guy with a human eyeball.
He's Ralph 2.0.
He's Ralph if Ralph was a caricature.
Yes.
I like how everyone just is like, get back in the car, get back in the car, get back in the car. I was like, okay, you're smart. You at least get that.
Yeah.
The group makes it to the cabin, and we get the close-up. While they're driving to the cabin, we get a close-up of the car, like, going over the bridge. And that is a finicky bridge. Everyone goes to the lake except Chris, who decides, I'm going to take my bags inside. And this entire time, the car and her have been watched by a peeping Tom. And it turns out that it's kind of her boyfriend, kind of not her boyfriend,
Kind
Rick.
of, a little bit.
They're not dating, but he, like, jumped on her to kiss her.
It's complicated.
I mean, I get that. When you're, like, 18 and that guy's, like, 45, it's weird. I get it.
And he's, like... She reacts in a normal way, like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, did I do something wrong? I'm like, dude, you just jumped her out of nowhere. Like, yeah, of course that's not okay.
The country boy from the north, Rick. God, I'm like, dude, there's no way he's part of this crew. He's so old. He has wrinkles. He already has wrinkles.
Yeah. It's the tough farming life. We'll let that be his explanation. Do I believe it?
Sure. Yeah. Especially when he's like, I'm just a country boy. And I'm like, bitch, you're from New York. Don't even try to say you're a country boy.
The plaid shirt does not make you a country boy.
No, it doesn't. The way he talks is what, like, points out I'm from the north. They go back to the car, and Chris is like, oh, I didn't leave this car door open. She goes in and, oh, God, I fucking hate Shelly. Grabs her hand. She's like, Shelly, what are you doing here? And he's like, everyone went skinny dipping.
But
and
I can't.
Can't. And I'm like, okay, here's what I'll say right now about Shelly. I would sympathize with Shelly if everyone treated Shelly like shit.
Right. But they don't. They treat him completely normal, like he's a part of the friend
Like
group.
he's part of the group.
Yeah.
And
He's the one making it an issue.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, I noticed, for me, in the short span of times that things are happening, there's way too many jump scares back to back to back to back. It's really numbing me to it at this point. And it's so early on in the film.
Good.
What do you mean good? It's a waste.
Oh, no, I mean good in general that you're being numb to jump scares.
Oh. At least just for this movie.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's not...
You know, by the end of our first season, hopefully you'll be numb to just jump scares.
We'll see what happens.
Chris sees something entering the barn, and she doesn't care. And Chris presents to Sassafras the hammock bed.
The hammock bed.
If I went to a place and someone's like, here's your bed, and it's a hammock.
For the weekend.
For the weekend.
Or
like, my back is going to die.
Plus, she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. At the same time, she had no problem being like, pregnant sex. Let's go, baby.
I mean, they did, but, you know, in a hammock for a weekend? No, thank you.
Yeah. We then cut straight to Chris and shirtless Rick loading hay into the barn with a pulley system, and this is when it's so prevalent that Rick is not a country boy, because you took the flannel off him, and I was like, yeah, this guy needs to be in like a 3-piece suit, talking about his daddy's bank account. I hate him.
And
I hate Rick.
There was a line that they were like, oh, what's with all the hay? Why are we moving all this hay? And she's like, oh, my dad buys the hay every year. It's like hay, but no horses. Like, is her father senile? What's the point of this?
No. That wasn't it. That wasn't the only part of the excuse.
Oh.
It was that every year he plans to buy a horse, but
And
he never
does.
gets it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he at least has the goal of getting a horse. It's not just random.
He jumps the gun a little bit, too, I guess.
He does. This scene ends with Rick lifting Chris into the barn through the pulley system.
I thought that was cute. Leave it alone.
That's impressive.
It was cute.
That's impressive.
It was cute.
That's impressive. Also, that pulley system comes back a lot in this movie.
It does.
We hear a scream. Also, who the fuck screamed?
Daphne?
But then what? But
I don't know.
When she comes in for the thing, she's oblivious.
It had to be a cutscene or something.
It had to be a cutscene or something. They go back to the main cabin, and the reveal is, and I quote, God, I fucking hate Shelly.
Yes. This is probably one of the worst things that he does.
No, I think his worst is late movie.
This is a close second, at least, because this is bad.
This is third to me. No, this is fourth.
Really?
Because what he does at the convenience store pisses me off more.
Oh, same. Okay. Let's get going.
Yeah. Chris opens up like the door to an armoire, I guess that's what it was called. And Shelly's quote unquote dead body falls out and she screams and everyone comes in. They're like, oh my God. And then Andy just tickles his belly like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
He's used to his antics.
That's the one thing with Andy. It's like, out of the two characters, I feel bad for Andy that he has to deal with Shelly.
Yeah. I wonder why, though. Why does he have to deal with him?
Because they're in college and he can't change his roommate.
I guess.
That could probably be it.
Doesn't mean he has to hang out with him, but regardless, we're putting too much thought into this relationship.
I'm sorry. Shelly's the one character I'm trying to understand how he is related to everybody in this group.
He's not.
Because everyone is used to his shit or understands that he does this shit, but he seems so disconnected from everyone else. So, rightfully, everybody's pissed off.
Clearly. I would be too.
Everybody's furious. I would be pissed at that. So girl decides, I'm going to go to the store. I want to get some stuff. And then Shelly's like, please get me out of here.
Because
I was like, what?
He messed up.
You played stupid games, you got stupid prizes, and you didn't like your prize? Is that your issue? And girl decides to let him join her. In this moment, I realized something. The left taillight was broken.
Oh, really? That's funny.
The left taillight was out. Cut to the convenience store. And girl already got the food. She's getting ready to pay. And we get a food stamps line.
Problematic. There's always got to be something problematic in these movies.
True, but I also believe in the 70s that was something that was probably said.
Yeah, but doesn't mean it's not problematic.
True, but at the same time, I think it would be problematic if they made more of a fuss out of it. But I think, saying like this person's definitely racist.
Yeah.
Like they didn't try to like make the person who said it a hero. Like they really kind of pushed that. Yeah, like that person's a dick.
Yeah.
At least they didn't, allow it to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly tosses the girl the wallet and it falls to the floor. As
that
she's
was
going
another
to pick it up.
3D
God.
attempt.
3D magic, baby. 3D magic.
So magical.
As the girl's going to pick it up, we get a mommy boot stepping on that wallet. Oh, it's a mommy boot. And we get a trio of bikers that I have nicknamed. I have a nickname because they all have like a certain feature. Their names are Chains, Skull, and Spider.
I like it.
Just because everyone has a personality and it's their outfit.
If you asked me what their names were, I would believe exactly what you just said. So
part of me is like, do I look it up later? And if I'm right, I will break down.
I don't think you are, but let's go.
I would love if I am. And Chains teaches girls some manners. Because girl doesn't have manners. And Shelly has a condom in his wallet.
Oh, Shelly.
Shelly. I swear, from here on out after this episode, I'm going to hate that name. I'm going to hate that name with a passion. But she's like, say, can I have the wallet back, please, ma'am? I'm like, yes, teach her manners. They pay for their stuff, and girl asks Shelly to drive, and Shelly crashes the car into the gang's bikes. His fault, because what happens next, he acts like it's everyone else's fault. He started this.
Yes, he did.
He crashed into the bikes. He was an idiot. He started it. Spider, who is outside, rightfully gets pissed.
Mm-hmm.
You just ran over all their bikes. Or just hit all their bikes, at least. And they knocked him over. He punches the car windows out. Okay, now this is where I'm like, okay, Spider.
A little much.
But that does not excuse Shelly trying to fucking kill him 3 minutes late, like 3 seconds later.
Yeah, I agree.
He's like, he went too far this time. And I'm like, shut up, Shelly. Shut up. Shut up.
If there's one thing that we can label this movie is shut up, Shelly.
Shut up, Shelly.
I do have
and my note is, Shelly tries to kill the man, now showing he has no likability whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. I do have to say, though, this entire biker scene at the grocery store made it feel like we weren't even at Crystal Lake or in the vicinity of it. I don't know. It just really separated me from the location.
Fun fact about this one, the girl who played Chains, turns out she's passed away a few years ago, but she was super nice, and she was mortified she had to do the condom scene.
Really?
She was like, oh, I have to talk about a condom?
Oh.
And I was just like, God, I love her.
Oh.
I will say, I love Chains. Out of all of them, I love Chains.
Oh, yeah.
They drive away. I'm like, I'm heated after that last scene. I remember I was writing the notes and I was heated writing the notes. I was just like, fuck Shelly. We get back to the camp and Andy's playing with a yo-yo in 3D magic.
This was
and he hits
so
Sassy
annoying.
Frass in the head.
It was so annoying. It was way too long of a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that the movie was all about its 3D gimmicks and a lot of it wasn't scripted. So they were like, oh, what can you do? You got to do something that's, going to be part of the gimmick. And they're like, here's a yo-yo. And he's like, okay, I guess I'll do this. Or later on, they're like, oh, do you guys have any special talents? We got to put this in there. And they're like, I can juggle. And they're like, perfect.
Also, another fun fact, this movie was shot fully on a crane.
Yeah.
They got a crane camera
The
for
crane
this.
almost killed somebody on set, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also made it that the actors sat around all day because it took so long to get the camera set up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially and like the 3D shots, you would have to do like, I think one of the Jason kills, the actor said he had to do 18 takes.
Yeah. And since the camera was mostly on a crane, I noticed that since Friday the 13th is mostly known for me with its POV shots, because that's usually what we refer it to, there weren't a lot in this one.
Oh, I will say after, I think part 4 is maybe the last time we get a POV shot. After that, we leave POV.
Okay.
It goes full just normal movie.
Gotcha.
We get back to the camp. We got that Andy stuff. He hits his girlfriend in the head. And she is not fazed by that, may I add. She's just like, Andy, you're silly. She's like, seriously? That guy just hit you in the head with a yo-yo.
Yeah.
That shit hurts. That shit was made out of wood. Shelly and girl get back to the cabin with the wrecked car. But before we get to the reaction, we see Jason looking on from the farmhouse. I would be Jason being like, oh, yeah, someone's about to get fucking destroyed. Rick asks what happened to his car, and Shelly's like, oh, you can fix it. Here's $20.
Also, Rick's reaction was so nonchalant about his busted windows. I would have beat the crap out of Shelly.
And then girl is like inhibiting fucking Shelly, being like, what? Well, it couldn't be stopped. Yes, it could. Maybe you should fucking back up into the bikers' bikes. God. And Jason continues to look on from the farmhouse, as I would.
Getting all the hot goss.
Be like, yeah, fuck that guy. He's awful. What does he do next? Tell me. Actually, no, don't tell me. Show me. Andy and Sassafras decide, let's go to the lake together. And we continue the trope of taking another character's car. Yep. The bikers happen to have followed them back to camp, and they siphon the gas from Chris's car. Which means the reason why Chris couldn't get out at the end is all because of Shelly.
Yes. And I thought they were just going to steal the gas, like just to be assholes, to mess with them. But they were going to commit arson. I was like, that's a little extreme, don't you think?
I feel like this is like Spider's just like, let's do it. Now let's take it just one step too far to where you can't be on my side anymore. Because I need to make sure we're rebels.
Siphoning the gas to steal it, completely understandable. Arson, not so much, buddy.
Chains shows some hesitation. She's like, maybe we shouldn't do this. And Spider's like, no. We got to show them who the bosses are. And I'm like, okay, Spider, just siphon the gas, get out of there. Chains leaves and she goes into the farmhouse and just starts looking around. And this is when I'm like, okay, so Chains isn't like the other two because she's like having fun in there.
She is, but I felt this scene was unnecessarily long. It looked like they told Chains to just be like, look around. There was no script to guide her or whatever. She was just like hitting things randomly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chains is trailed by Jason. And she eventually starts to swing from the pulley system from before. Mm-hmm. And I will admit, I was jealous of Chains. I wanted to do that. That looked so fun. While Skull is talking to her, she dies off screen. We don't know what happened to her yet, but she's definitely dead at this point. Skull comes inside and eventually makes his way up to the top. He sees Chains impaled by a pitchfork, to which he turns around and is stabbed in the gut by another pitchfork.
Very creative, Jason.
I was like, damn, this guy knows where the pitchforks are in this place. Spider makes his way into the farmhouse looking for the other two. And Skull falls on them from the top and lands on Spider. Spider pushes him off, grabs a machete, and is like, I'm going to fight this guy. goes to fight Jason, and he is knocked out like in 3 seconds, and seemingly killed.
Yeah. And
I mean, 3 hits to the head was something blunt.
And it was brutal. We didn't see any blood, no gore or anything, but the thud was, that was really, eesh.
We get back to Andy and Sassafras with Jason looking at them through a window, and we are now introduced to Andy's ability to do handstands.
Yes, we are introduced to that.
You're just like, good for you, Andy.
Again, I feel like they told the actor, we need some gimmicks. What can you do? And he's like, I can do a handstand and walk.
Hey, that shit's not hard. That shit's not easy. Sorry, that shit's not easy.
I'm not saying it's not impressive, but I don't really care to see it in my home.
It is now nighttime, and we cut to Rick and Chris sitting at a sewer pipe?
Something like that.
Because the way the water was falling out, I'm like, that's usually what sewer water falls out of. And if so, you're not standing there for 2 hours because that shit smells.
How romantic.
And they talk a little bit. Is this the point where we get the
flashback
monologue,
and trauma?
or is the next one the monologue?
I think it's the
next one. They cut back to him twice. Okay. We cut back to the main cabin, and the stoners are out cold on the couch. You know, because they're stoners.
Yeah.
Well, Andy and Shelly are having a juggling competition.
Yeah.
Thanks to the power of 3D magic.
And throughout the movie, I don't know if it's due to me not watching the movie in 3D, but a lot of the film and the lens is very blurry.
I do agree with you on that.
Okay, the background is absolutely blurred out, and it was very distracting in a bad way.
Sassafras decides to break it up by giving Andy some sexy talk, and he's like, you win, bye. I'm gonna have sex. And in my notes, we get a cringeworthy scene with Shelly that I refuse to recap.
Please, let's not.
I'll do a cliff note.
Okay.
He stares at girl's ass while she's playing with the fire. He's like, I've known you for 40 minutes. I like you. And I'm like, oh, Shelly.
My note is, God, Shelly is pathetic.
I fucking hate Shelly so much. Here's the thing. I feel like out of all these characters, the goofball type of, the kind of goofball third cherry character, Ted is going to be the best.
I love Ted. Compared to Shelly and Ned,
I love Ted.
Ted is my best friend.
Because here's the thing. I put Shelly below Ned because Ned was a shithead, but at least they acknowledged Ned is a shithead.
Yeah, they didn't excuse him.
Shelly, they try to make an excuse.
Yeah.
That makes him worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I get heated. You can see how heated I'm getting every time we come back to Shelly.
And then when Vera, a.k.a. Girl, shoots him down, obviously, he straight up calls her a bitch. I was like, the audacity of this man. If I didn't hate him before...
Harry Potter and the audacity of this bitch.
If I didn't hate him before, god damn do I hate him now. My note is, I hate Shelly, cannot wait till he chokes.
The entire movie I was like, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, please, kill him.
My note says, he's acting like a 10-year-old, but he's in a 20-something-year-old's body. Again, how old is everyone?
How old are they? Yes.
They are in age.
They are in age. That is a number. I can give you that much.
I think we're on the flashback of trauma at this point.
No.
No?
We are not.
Oh.
Girl leaves, Shelly stays inside, and Jason watches Shelly from outside the window.
Oh, yes.
And then we get the beginning of Hammock Sex. Which is home to Sassafras's best moment in this entire movie. He goes, how do we do it? And she's like, well, we take off our clothes and you get on top of me, or I can get on top of you if that works. And he's like, I know how to do it.
She earned the name Sassafras.
I was like, I laughed my ass off. Just because I've met people like her. And I'm like, I love it. I love it so much. He's like, I know how to do it. How do we do it in a hammock? It's just like, you find a way. You have a blanket. You block the holes. We're good. Then we get the Jason Expo dump by Chris.
Yes.
And best I can think of it was like Marcy.
Yes.
In part 1, except this at least contributed to the plot.
That was my note. I was like, it's exactly like Marcy's monologue at the beginning.
Except it's not like, and it was raining and thundering, and it was like the storm, it was blood, and then nothing happened. I remember that just because of how nonsensical it is.
It's a metaphor.
It would be a great metaphor if it contributed to anything that happens in the movie in the future. But no, it's just a monologue. Chris and Rick decide to walk back to the cabin after they find out that the car is dead. And I have in parentheses, I blame Shelly. If anything goes wrong with this movie, I'm just blaming that guy.
Well, it also doesn't help that they probably had those car lights on for over 3 hours, killing the battery. But who cares?
Probably doesn't help. Well, here's the thing. One of the taillights was dead when they went to the shop. Shelly crashed the car twice. One of them intentional. And he puts his feet on the gas, which means you're going to screw up the transmission.
For Chris's trauma, I saw, I don't know if it was a fan theory or whatever, that there was a possibility that there was trigger warning for sexual assault. But
yes,
iteration of it was trying to allude to Jason raping her.
Did she get away from him? Oh, no, she passed out. She passed out.
She passed out and then woke up in her bedroom. So I don't know what they were trying to do, but that's really what it seemed like. And
same. I mean, at least Jason isn't sympathizable in this movie like he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
So at least they're not doing this to a character that's like, oh, look, sympathize with him.
Yeah. It's still, though.
Still fucked up.
Yeah, completely. For some reason, I think that's what I was most bothered about in this gory horror movie. I was like, really? We went this route? But.
Oh, God. We cut back to the main cabin, and the guy stoner goes to the outhouse. And he starts smoking in the outhouse. And it starts to shake. He heads outside.
He's like, strong weed, man. I'm like, really? Really?
He heads outside and sees Jason walking into the farmhouse. And he begins to walk away. The reason why this jump scare works is that the movie kind of points at, okay, he's safe. Jason's over there. And they just they move the camera a little bit. And his girlfriend's just there.
Those are when you know those are good jump scares.
That got me. And I was like, oh, shit. Good job, movie. They head to the farmhouse thinking it was Shelly. And we get a search scene that's like 2 minutes and it's pointless.
It's 2 minutes too long.
And the thing is, I would have got it if maybe they put the axe somewhere that Chris would later get it. But they don't even do that. We go back to girl sitting on the dock alone. And her foot is grabbed by something under the water.
Who could it be?
It ain't Jason.
It ain't Jason.
Which means you can only be on one other person in this fucking movie. It's Shelly in a swimsuit.
No.
Oh, like in like a
wetsuit.
A wetsuit, sorry.
And what does he have? A
hockey
harpoon.
mask.
Yeah, but he has a harpoon gun.
Harpoon gun.
Who brings...
What is he gonna do? Date me or I'll shoot you.
I mean, that's what he made it seem like. Who brings a wetsuit and a harpoon gun to a cabin where the deepest water is probably 5 feet?
Shelly.
Shelly
does. There's my excuse. And here's the scene. This is the scene that it takes everything Shelly has done so far and makes it 100 times worse. Girl is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She's over
I
shit.
like you.
Yeah.
She even says, I like you. And he's like, no, you don't. And the one thing that got me is Shelly sits there and goes, everyone else, like, I have to act like this. Like, I have to do it. You know, everyone else makes me do it. And I'm like, dude, if in this movie, to this point, the other characters treated you like shit, to the point where you acted, you like, were kind of forced to act like this to how they were treating you, I would get it. But everyone has been so fucking nice to you.
Overly
and you
nice.
have been exactly.
Yeah.
And the only times they have gotten shitty with you is when you've done something shitty.
Yeah. I don't.
And then we get this girl who's like, I like you. And then she's like, no, I actually really like you. And then Shelly's like, no, you don't. You can't like people like me because I need a constant pity party.
Exactly. He just wants that. And I don't understand the point of this character. Was he just to be, I don't know, an attempt at, like, connecting with this type of person? I really don't understand.
Who in this world can connect with Shelly?
I have no idea.
Because even the people who are like Shelly in this world probably don't like Shelly.
Right.
In my mind, it's like he was only there to give Jason his mask. That was it.
They could have gave that to Andy or something. He looked like he could have been a hockey player or something like that.
Oh, I know. But that's like all he does this movie.
Yeah.
It's just, he prolongs the plot to where, you know, it's allowed to hit the 90-minute mark.
Yeah.
And he gives Jason his mask. That's it. And also, he makes my blood boil, so he's also there for that reason. They were like, RJ's going to be born in, 15, 16 years. Just make sure we can piss him off. Oh, God. Shelly walks towards the farmhouse and heads inside. We get a cow head jump scare.
Yeah.
Before cutting back to girl. And Shelly is seemingly killed off screen at that point. I was so happy.
Celebrations.
So happy. This girl still has Shelly's wallet. She opens it, and we get a photo of Shelly and either his mother or his grandmother.
Something like that.
Something like that. Alluding to probably dead.
Yeah.
And I think that's the movie being like, oh, that's why he acts like this. And I will say this. I don't give a shit.
It doesn't excuse you for being a crappy person.
This does not excuse. If his thing was, oh, he distanced himself from everybody, and then when people tried to hang out with him, he would kind of blow up at them, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Do I excuse it? No, but I understand it.
Right.
Nothing about his actions in this entire movie makes any sense
Or justifiable.
for the reveal.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Or justifiable.
Yeah.
She accidentally drops it in the water. This girl goes into the water to get his wallet after he just fucking, like, verbally went at her.
Not just that, it, like, gets yeeted.
Yeeted.
Like 30 feet. I'm like, how did that happen? What? Like, how did it get over there? It's like downstream.
Her conscience was like, bitch, throw it. Throw it. She goes in the water and grabs it. And she's like, oh, sorry, I dropped it in the water, but I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jason now that's on the dock, and he has the harpoon gun. She's like, stop putting it at me. It's not funny. And he shoots it with some 3D magic.
I do have to say, this is the best 3D shot. I was so glad they used it in the theatrical trailer near the end as like the, whoa, this was such a good shot.
I mean, this is probably the one shot where all the budget went.
That's very true.
And she gets shot in the eye.
Yes, she does.
Right in the eyeball. It was brutal. This is probably the most brutal kill.
It was pretty gross. Doesn't the eyeball like shoot out or something, or am I wrong?
Oh no, the eyeball shoots out in around 20 more minutes.
Oh, okay. I knew I remembered that trauma.
After killing girl, Jason's sex star goes off, and it points him to the main cabin.
He knows.
He's like, people just got done having sex. It's my turn. And we cut to Andy and Sassafras finishing up having sex. I have a question. What the fuck is with Friday the 13th and Adam's apple kissing?
That's a trend? I didn't even notice that.
Like, every time I've seen a movie so far, the girl ends with, like, kissing the dude's Adam's apple. I'm like, that's disgusting. The Adam's apple is not sexy. I'm sorry. I think that's what, like, always grosses me out is I look up and it's like, oh, stop kissing, like, specifically the Adam's apple. Like, you're really on that. Like, side of the neck, I get it. But, like, right in the middle of the neck, like, you're making a point to go right for the middle of the neck. Sassy Frass is like, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm like, shouldn't he be taking the shower, girl? Also, you pregnant, and he didn't use protection.
And?
Why are you with a guy who refuses to use any protection whatsoever? He already got you pregnant.
It's not like it can happen again at this point.
I would still be like, dude, learn. Fucking learn. I have to deal with this shit. I'm not dealing with this in like another, 14 months so I get pregnant again because you don't know how to use a fucking condom. Oh, boy. She's taking a shower, and Andy comes into the bathroom doing a handstand.
Yes. Another
He's
shower
like, do you want
scene.
beer?
Yeah, but another shower scene. This is another shout out to Psycho, of course.
But this time, we're like in the shower the entire time.
Yeah.
Which means we get all the side boob.
And then, like you
side boob.
Like you were saying, he's like, do you want a beer? Again, the woman's pregnant. That's not a good idea. Why are you suggesting that?
Let's just say this. On this trip, he has tried feeding her weed.
Yes. Feeding it.
Feeding it. Straight up just like,
not smoking
eat it.
Just
eat it.
Eat it, bitch.
Here's a handful. Eat it. We don't have water. Suffocate. Doesn't matter. Eat it. Been like, yeah, pregnant sex. Because,
In a hammock.
In a hammock.
It's a little dangerous for a pregnant woman.
Beer after pregnant sex. In one day. This is all in one day, man.
In less than 6 hours.
He has done all of this.
In less than 6 hours.
He has done all of this. He goes to get the beer, and Sassy Frass, kudos to her. She denies the beer in the end.
Yeah.
She's like, actually, you know what? I don't want it. When Andy's coming out of the upstairs kitchen, I guess.
Something like that, yeah.
Fuck he was. He gets macheted.
Upside down. That was a
Upside
great
down.
shot. So the shot.
I know it's glass. I know it's like a glass underneath. Like there's like a camera on the bottom, some sort of plexiglass above the camera, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great on the screen. We have the below
looks great.
shot right of Andy, and then above shot looking up towards Jason. That was a really good one. And
Yeah.
then, ooh, the cut in half. I was like, oh,
Yes.
oh, I felt that.
That's what you get for doing handstands every
Right?
day, boy.
Jason was not impressed.
Sassy Frass finishes up her shower and heads back to the room. And she's like, I'm going to read some Fangoria magazine.
Yes.
And she gets like to an article about Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that for some reason. It was like, ooh, Godzilla. And what's his name? Tom Savini.
Yes, he
Tom
was. It was
Savini
a
ad.
shout out to him, yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cute.
We get some blood dropping on the book. She looks up, sees Andy's dead, like split 50% in half
Yeah.
body. And in my notes, I have Sassy Frass is killed by Jason via Kevin Baconing.
I said little twist on the bacon death.
Anytime someone gets stabbed from underneath something, I'm just going to say they died via Kevin Bacon.
They
From here
baconed
on
out,
out.
yeah.
They baconed out. We cut to Chris and Rick, and they we cut to them for some reason. Because we cut to them for like 10 seconds, and then we're back with the stoners.
Yeah.
And they are making popcorn with some 3D magic.
Ooh, it's like the popcorn's popping right into my mouth.
I feel like that's one of the cheapest 3D effects. Like, it's popcorn.
It was pretty bad.
Woo. The power goes out, and the guy heads to the generator area, which is like in a wet basement,
It's
I guess.
the cellar, yeah. But
That place is wet.
he goes barefoot
To the
into the cellar.
And all those wooden steps.
Yes, they are.
I hate wooden steps. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I was walking on wooden steps barefoot, and I got like a 5-inch piece of wood lodged into my foot.
Yeah. As
it was
expected.
awful.
Yes.
It was awful. I hated it. We cut back to Woman Stoner. I think her name's Marianne.
Sure.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mary Jane.
Maybe her first name's Marianne, last name Jane. Marianne Jane. She opens the door and Shelly appears with his neck slit, and I was like, yes! He's dying. He's dying. I get to see it. Yes. He's dead. And I love Marianne just being like, I get it. You're joking. Fucking stop.
Yeah.
I'm making popcorn.
This is more important.
Power's out. I'm making popcorn. I don't need your shit. And Shelly dies. Shelly dies.
Finally.
In the most poetic way possible. He dies as the boy who cried wolf.
Yep.
And I was so happy that's how he went out. Because I'm like, you've been a shithead this entire movie. And you died. And no one helped you. Because they thought you were just being a shithead.
He deserved it. Yep.
You deserve this. They cut back to the cellar. And Jason's just there when the lights turn back on.
I like that shot.
Jason shoves him into the generator and electrocutes the stoner guy. And the power goes crazy.
At this point, I felt like they were catching up to the deaths and everything was a bit too clumped together. It was just like one after another.
You're gonna... God, I feel like you're gonna go crazy with part 6. Because part 6 is like deaths all the time in the movie.
Oh, boy.
Like it's just death, 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 death. American Express death, 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 death. We get so Mary Jane decides finally finds out this is not a joke, and we get some of the best acting this entire movie, baby. They're dead. Oh, they're just scream, just run and scream. We don't have anything. She comes down the stairs, runs into Jason, and he kills her with a scalding hot wood poker. Mm-hmm. And this is the shot that took 18 takes. And the 18 takes was the poker going to the camera.
Oh my god, I would have been so pissed if I was that actor.
Oh, I was like, dude, I'd be like, this is so ridiculous. But you're paying me, so I'm good.
That's true.
Chris and Rick finally make it back to the cabin, and they begin to explore the cabin, beginning with the burning popcorn room. And somehow a chair is blocking the door now?
Yeah.
Okay. They can't find anyone. So Rick, in my exact notes, it's Rick quantum leaps to another part of the forest. Where the fuck did he go? She was like, wait for me, and then he was 3 miles into the forest.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
I was like, where did he go? He literally quantum leaped somewhere. To he quantum leaped to some other part of this movie. Oh boy. Chris looks for Rick, and we get a shot, which is a really cool shot, I will admit. This was probably one of the coolest shots in the movie.
I wanted to talk about this one, yeah.
Chris comes out, and she's kind of on the patio, and around the corner is Jason muffling Rick.
Yes. But what's really cool is their clever use of shadow and lights.
Yes.
It was very theatrical. So what you have is, because I think it's kind of either storming or it's very windy outside.
Oh, it's about to get way windier.
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
3
does.
minutes.
You have Chris on the left side, and she's looking around, and then around the corner is, like you said, Jason muffling him, and she doesn't hear it because of the wind, and the shadow is cut in a great way where you don't see the face of Jason. So you're not seeing that hockey mask, and what's illuminated is Rick, struggling, and that line of sight right there, really, really nicely done.
This is the most you've said about anything in this entire episode.
Because that was the best shot of the whole movie. It was noticeably very nice, and I was like, I need to jot this down.
You're like, this is the only thing theatrical about this entire movie.
I literally, my note says very theatrical lighting and framing.
Oh. Chris heads back inside, and Jason squeezes Rick's head in a terrible effect.
Yes, this is the popping eyeball.
This is the popping eyeball in 3D. Mm-hmm. 3D magic. Oh my god, it's bad.
It was disgusting. Not in a gory way. It was disgusting in a very disappointing. This is sad to watch.
The best thing is you can see the like fishing line that the eyeball is on.
It was so blatant.
And I'm like, here's the thing. Like, the Kevin Baconing in the first movie, I get it. You needed the 70s movie grain. I get it. There is no way 70s movie grain made that line disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
That was there.
Yep.
She continues to search the house and is led to... Oh, sorry, Chris. Not she. Chris. Continues to search the house, and she is eventually led to the bathroom where it is flooding. She gets the door open, and there's some... You know... How the fuck did you pick up the clothes and take like 20 seconds to realize they are bloody?
Yeah.
Water, red. Clothes, red. You held that shit.
It's food coloring, isn't it?
I would have been like, no, I would have noped out of there. I would have noped all the way out of there. And she nopes. Good for her. Mm-hmm. She doesn't nope yet. She doesn't nope. She goes, Rick, people whose names I guess I'm gonna reveal right now, but like I'm not gonna remember when a person's like the only time I hear a person's name is when they're dead. Mm-hmm. And she gets to the barn, and Skull's dead body falls upside down from a tree.
We have to get that 3 for 3. Each movie has had one.
The upside down? What was the upside down in the second movie?
Didn't they do it? They did a tree one.
I mean, the only thing I can remember about the tree in the second movie was when Crazy Ralph was choked out.
Or Gaston. Gaston was hanging from a tree.
Okay, but it wasn't a jump scare.
Oh, no.
This was an exact copy from number one as the jump scare.
Yes.
Okay, I get what you meant now. She runs inside, and holy shit, it is so windy by the time she gets inside.
The wind and window effects of like them blowing in and out made it look like it was from The Wizard of Oz. And that is not a compliment to this movie. I love Wizard of Oz, but it looked so cheap. It looked like an effect from, what was it, the 1940s for...
Probably the 40s.
For The Wizard of Oz. So, yeah, that could have been done a lot better.
It was so windy. And I was just like, damn, it got bad.
Yeah.
Like, she got in that house, and it got bad. Yeah, she just like spends like a good like minute just closing all these windows and doors.
Yeah.
She's like, Rick. And she gets Rick.
Yep.
Via, what was her name from the first movie?
I can't think of her name.
No, it wasn't. It was Smart Girl.
Smart Girl, yeah.
I think my nickname for her was Buttercup.
That's fair.
Because she reminded me of the Powerpuff Girl, Buttercup. She kind of had that personality. But Rick gets thrown through the window.
Yep.
Chris wanted Rick.
There he is.
Chris got Rick. She also got Jason.
Hello.
He's like, I'm here too.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's windy out. You mind if I stay in here for a little bit? It's fucking crazy. And we begin the final girl chase.
We do.
She runs upstairs and unloads a swarm of books onto Jason from upstairs.
And that hurt.
And it stuns him.
Yeah, it would hurt.
It hurts human Jason. Chris hides in the closet and moves a coat, unveiling Sassafras's dead body. And she screams, and Jason hears her, thankfully. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, I will give Chris some credit right here. She pulls the knife out of this girl's neck.
Her friend.
her friend's
Yeah.
neck.
Her pregnant friend.
I don't think she's pregnant anymore. Chris stabs Jason in the hand and starts just swinging. This is the
Down the
exact
hallway,
moment.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the exact moment she starts to lose it mentally.
Yes.
Like, this is the moment I'm like, and she's starting to go.
Which is completely reasonable.
Yes. But I mean, like, she already got to the camp really paranoid.
Yeah.
And then Shelly fucked her up even more.
Yeah.
Like, the way she ends at the end of this movie in 20 minutes makes sense.
Absolutely.
Especially when this place already alluded to she had shit happen to her.
She already has trauma. Mm-hmm.
And then also, she just ran into the guy who caused that trauma.
Yeah.
She stabs him in the knee, though. She finally gets him, stab him in the
Yeah.
knee. Jason is hurting from the knee. And she jumps out of the bathroom window. Well, Jason tries to catch her. He's like, no, please come inside.
It's windy
We can
out.
talk. We can talk. And she's like, no, we cannot. I can fall. Thank you. Chris turns around the house and spies on Jason getting ready to leave, and she knocks him in the head with a log. And she runs to her car, and she begins to drive away, and she stops. Well, no, she doesn't stop. The car stops. Thanks, Shelly. On the rickety bridge.
Rickety bridge.
And it collapses because that bridge can't stand anything.
Yeah.
And Jason reaches for her, starts suffocating her. She pulls the window up and it
Kind of grabs
traps
him.
Jason's arms. And she jumps out of the other side. Jason headbutts the window.
Yes, he does. He's got that hockey mask on. He's protected.
Oh, he's good now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a potato sack anymore. He has a real mask. And yeah, we're at the barn. We're at the final part of the movie.
Yeah.
And Chris locks the door with I forget what she locks it with, but it's not.
It was like a piece of wood, but not the right piece of wood. Something like that.
Yes. And Jason just breaks in,
Yeah.
and he begins to search for her. And Chris is hanging from a beam. I don't know how she got up there, but she got up there.
She got up there fast, too.
She eventually jumps down and stuns Jason. But she can't escape because he really locked the real piece of wood for the barn doors into place.
And it's windy, so I'm sure it's...
And it's windy.
Blocking the door even more.
That is true. All right. So, fun fact, we just had a crazy cut because I lost my place. Isn't that fantastic? Watch as I probably lost my place again. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I am. It's great, right?
Oh, yeah. That's how it goes.
I'm totally not a mess.
Doesn't matter how much we edit this. Things are bound to happen.
The amount of times my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s get fucked up is insane. And usually after me going 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Chris tries to get the wood from the door.
Right.
Can't escape. She's like, screw it. I'm climbing up this ladder and hiding behind some hay. See, Daddy's hay works.
It came in handy for something.
And Jason just gets up there and decides not to look behind the fucking hay. Because why not? And she whacks him with a shovel.
It was good.
In the head.
You could feel the anger behind that.
Knocks him out. And this is before she officially knows that this is the guy from before. She ties the pulley system around his neck.
This was
and pushes
brutal. Super brutal.
The only reason why I don't like this is I think the ending of part 5 also has with him falling off a barn.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
this is not the last time we go to a barn.
That's not this movie's fault at all.
Yeah.
So.
But he falls and he's hanging. And, I'm like, okay, this is human Jason. This could be his death, feasibly, to let him come back in the next movie. But nope. She comes back down, finally gets the wood lock to get off the area. And she opens the door, and she is face to face with Jason.
Yeah. He's still hanging.
And still hanging, and then he grips it and just lifts himself.
Yeah. That was creepy.
And while he's removing the noose, or like the pulley noose from around his mask lifts, and she finally realizes who this guy is.
Right.
Which goes on to prove she's not crazy.
No, yeah. All this time, she thought she was. Her parents thought she was.
Yeah. I think that was something we didn't go into, was that when she was talking about what she experienced in the flashback, everyone was telling her it didn't happen.
Yeah. And she ended up thinking this whole trauma experience was just a figment of her imagination.
Yes. It wasn't.
Unfortunately.
Or, see, this is where, I'm just going to go do an aside real quick. This is where continuity makes no sense. Because he didn't get out of the water until part 2.
Oh. You're right.
I forgot the jump. I know it's 4 months or 4 or 5 months between part 1 and Alice dying.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may be 3 years.
It's something like that. Because it's more like a urban legends in 2.
Yeah.
When they're around the campfire.
So this had to happen relatively recently, and this movie makes it feel like it was a while ago.
Right.
This is where continuity gets a little weird. He gets himself down, and she is freaking out. Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And while Jason's walking towards Chris, Spider appears through, like, one of the closets.
Surprise.
This fool gets his hand cut off real fast. And then if you thought him getting hit in the head before was brutal, this is even more brutal. He gets, like slaughtered with a machete.
It was really bad.
It was brutal. But it was long enough for Chris to find an axe and to get her bearings. Mm-hmm. As she goes up to Jason as he's turning around, and she just enlodges that axe into his head.
It was a good shot. I liked it.
It was a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one thing I like is that every movie from here on out, he has the thing in his mask, like the cut.
If there's one thing in continuity, there you go.
Jason walks towards Chris, but falls short of her, quote unquote, dying, but dying in this movie. And she walks away, and we get a part 1 ending.
Yes, we do.
She gets to a cabin. She gets back to the main cabin, and she gets to a canoe?
Yes.
Is that a canoe, or is that a kayak?
Either or.
Either or.
But it goes onto a little creek. Is it even deep enough for a canoe at all?
And she wakes up. She falls asleep and wakes up by being scared awake by a fucking duck that is loud as shit.
Also,
and then the duck flies past her.
The shot of the wood, the driftwood in the creek, was too long.
I think it was trying to be like, when she goes to reach for it, there may be somebody there.
Oh, I guess. I didn't even feel that scare.
She sees Jason in the window of the cabin.
That was the scariest part of the movie.
Yes.
That was so scary.
Horrifying.
Like, I was actually frightened. I was like, oh my God. If I saw that in real life,
you'd be gone. And things you can't run away now.
Yeah, you're stuck.
You're stuck. Mm-hmm. And he sees her, and he starts running.
Booking it. This is so scary.
I don't know if he gets out of the cabin, right?
He's starting to. He's coming down the stairs from what I remember.
And he starts moving towards the canoe, and then Mrs. Voorhees appears out of the water.
Taking the place of her son from the first movie.
Yeah. The one thing is, like, she's a she's like a corpse. Mm-hmm. And, like, she just looks like a really pruned old lady who's been in this water too long. Like, this isn't that. This one isn't as effective as the first movie. Here's a fun fact I got for you. You ready?
Yes.
This movie had 3 endings initially.
Wow.
This was one of them.
Okay.
Another one was that Chris actually cut his head off.
Ooh.
I believe so. I believe that was one of them. And then the third one was the dream sequence. But she would hear Rick's voice and run towards the cabin. And when the cabin door opened, it would have been Jason instead.
Oh.
And he would have, quote unquote, killed her. But it was just a dream.
Right.
They ended up going with this.
I would have liked option number 3.
Same.
Yeah.
This was a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
It's a Friday movie, so at this point, it's expected.
This is the last Friday dream sequence.
Oh, thank God.
The next movie has like a pretty solid ending, I believe.
I'm getting pretty sick of it.
Chris is escorted from the cabin by cops who show up, and she is fucked up mentally.
Yeah, she is in complete hysterics at this point.
Rightfully so.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I think I have seen a character in the Friday movies so far. I think this is probably the only Friday movie this happens. That the reaction to the final girl makes sense. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure anybody who just went through that entire night would be going fucking insane.
They would have absolutely had a mental breakdown. And on top of that, she was attacked again by her abuser from the past. So on top of the regular trauma, she's got previous trauma just building on top of that.
And I think one of the main ways she coped with that previous trauma was that she kind of probably convinced herself
that it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, which means she didn't have to deal with it really.
Right, and then it just completely, overflown
and then,
at this point.
Exactly, because now you know it did happen. The guy's right there. Now this guy, it did happen to you. He has killed everybody.
Yep, tried to get you.
And now he's coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this makes sense. Her story makes sense. We get a slow zoom of Jason's dead body, and we cut to a now serene pond. Fun fact about this movie, I'm going to end it with this. Okay. This was not the original movie.
What do you mean?
The original movie was supposed to be Ginny again.
Oh, yes, I did.
And it was supposed to be her in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah, what does that sound like? Does that sound a little familiar to you?
Oh, like... Halloween 2 and Nightmare 3.
Exactly.
But Nightmare 3 is later.
No, but
it's so good.
It was intentional to be like Halloween 2, and so they had to change everything from what I understand.
No.
No?
No. It was just Ginny's actresses. She wasn't the one that said no. Basically, her manager was like, doing horror movies is going to ruin your whole career. You have to do real movies.
Wow.
You have to be a real actress.
This just sounds like Alice's manager screwing up her chances for 2.
Yep.
Don't listen to your manager.
He didn't screw her in the sense of being like, fucking up negotiations with the movie. He just fucked it up by just saying, he didn't want to represent someone who was at that time like horror. Horror now is like the violent video. Horror then was like the violent video games today.
Right. It rots
like
your
they're
brain.
blamed for everything.
Yeah.
And I guess like if you were in that movie, if you were in horror movies, you were seen as like someone who can never make it.
Right.
I actually just find it funny by how many famous people in today's Hollywood came from a horror movie.
Yep.
Henry Cavill, Jared Leto, Johnny Depp,
Kevin Bacon,
Jennifer Love Hewitt, Kevin Bacon,
Jamie Lee Curtis,
Nev Campbell, Heather Langenkamp would go on to have a few TV shows.
Quite a few.
Courtney Cox.
Yeah, quite a few.
Like, after Scream, I know it was happening during Friends, but after Scream, everyone was like, she's the one.
Jennifer
she's
Aniston
gonna be...
in Leprechaun.
Yep, she was in Leprechaun before Friends.
Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black was in Ginger Snaps 2.
Yep. We got, what's her name? Jennifer Morrison.
Yes.
Was Urban Legends.
But
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Just goes to show. you know.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Scream 2, and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, but it just goes to show that it's not a weird genre of movies to get your start in at all.
It's not.
No.
And I don't know why back then it was seen as like it's a career killer if you're in a horror movie. Especially when the people who were in horror probably have the most long-lasting careers and fan bases today.
Yep.
But that is how this movie ends. And I'm just going to say going into this, I'm kind of like down on this movie after like walking through this movie because it's like, wow, this movie was a whole bunch of nothing.
Exactly. That's the reason I didn't like it.
A whole bunch of nothing. You know what it's time for?
What is it?
Do you want to say it this time?
I
Just
guess
like
so.
Last time.
And now it's time for our movie roundup. All right, I guess we're going to discuss our overall takes on the movie. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of it. If I had to rank it with the other two, it would be part 1, part 2, and part 3. It would go in that order. Yeah, no, it felt like a lot of pointless nothing. I didn't like most, if any, of the characters. I mean, I did sympathize with Chris just because she's one of the only ones we got any type of backstory on. The deaths were okay. The 3D gimmick was absolutely horrible, except for maybe 1, 2 of the gimmicks that they did. I don't know. It felt really pointless. The best part of the thing was Jason got his iconic hockey mask from the worst character in this film franchise. I'm going to say that now. I'd give it a, I don't know, 3 out of 10 at this point.
Do you want to hear something, Paige?
Please.
Friday Part 3 was the highest grossing Friday sequel until Freddy vs. Jason.
Is it because it was 3D?
Of course it was because it was 3D.
Exactly.
It was so packed. It was so packed that the Polaroid companies had to hand deliver 3D glasses opening weekend because all movie theaters were sold out.
See, so
like constantly.
That doesn't count to me. When you're doing a gimmick like that, that doesn't mean the movie's good. You're just going to be making more money because of the 3D gimmick.
Hey, you know what? If you're a company,
that's the point.
And you need that money, honey.
That's the point.
Do it.
That's what this industry is for. It used to be about
also,
artistry, but it's now, it's about money.
This was the first Friday that was like actually released on a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty awesome. I do like that.
That's a good one. I have a question for you though.
Okay.
Did part 3 lead you to appreciate part 2 more?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
When I finished part 3, I was like, I was so hard on 2. Why was I so hard on 2?
That's how I was. I was like, man, I really didn't give 2 enough credit.
Yeah, I was
really
like, one is still my favorite, but 2, leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds.
2 had characters I at least was able to like attach to.
3D full characters, not 3D gimmicks, just 3D well-rounded characters.
We put the 3D somewhere. It just wasn't in the characters.
Exactly.
We're sorry. I think the only reason I liked this movie initially was Jason got his mask. It wasn't at a camp, and I think I was like marathoning these, so it was nice just not to be at a camp for a little bit. I probably was looking at my phone whenever Shelly was on the screen, so that probably helped. Yeah. Andy could like kind of get it.
It's the handstands, isn't it?
Totally.
The juggling?
Totally the handstand.
Is it the juggling?
Oh God. No, it's the yo-yo to the head. Of course. Me.
But
it's the concussion for me.
Initially, you said this was your favorite, and
I did. When I ranked these movies initially, last year when I watched them, it was 3, 6, 2. So 2 was high. Yeah. 2 is high, and I will say this: 2 will remain high. I always flipped between 3 and 6. I know in my heart of hearts, 6 is the best monster, Jason.
Okay.
if you don't like 6, it's not like I would be like, how dare you not like 6. I would just be very surprised.
So why did your opinion change this time? What made it change?
I think it was because I liked the final girl of this movie.
Because of her realistic reaction?
She was real.
Yeah.
She was the first person I was like, she feels like a character in the real world.
Yeah.
I liked the final show off, like the final standoff in a way. Jason getting his mask is iconic, so, you kind of add a point or so for that. Here's the thing, I don't remember the stoner characters dying the first time I watched it. Like, I think I just, blocked it out. I don't know what happened. If you went, why did you love it so much? My main thing would be, I don't know. I just remember feeling something towards it. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
Because now that I'm going back to it, I'm like, 2's so much better.
Yeah.
2 is so much better. I think it was just Jason getting his mask. I liked Chris. I was a little thirsty for Andy.
It's got a little bit of everything.
Whammy. I think in my head I was like, oh, they seem like friends. But then when I was rewatching this, I'm like, no, 2 feels like friends. Besides Bon Jovi and Cassandra.
Of course.
I don't know what they were doing there.
So
But
overall,
I look back at part 2 and it's like, Ted, I love him. Ginny, I love her. Mark, I love him. Like, I can think of characters I genuinely was like, I like these characters.
And look at that. You actually named them. You know what I mean? Which means...
I got Chris.
Again, lasting
Chris and Andy.
characters that had, an overall character, build on them. So they last.
I remember Shelly.
Oh, well, Jesus. For other reasons.
I wish I didn't. Yeah. I really wish I didn't. But yeah, I don't know why I like this movie. Where it'll rank, I don't know. I know my initial least favorite is the next movie. I would be very shocked if it moves anywhere from my least favorite.
Okay.
My second least favorite was the 2010 movie.
Okay.
So I'm not looking forward to the day we get to that. And after that, it was Jason Goes to Hell.
All right.
It's not good. But I will say this. I'm gonna call you out right now. I like that for this episode, you remained consistent with your opinion. Unlike last episode where you were like,
I hated it.
The quality is better. Everything about it's better. This movie's so much better. And then 10 seconds later, you're like, it's just worse, It's just it got worse.
How?
It's not as good
I don't know.
As the first movie. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, okay, RJ, just remember, she was sleep deprived while we were filming this episode. This is probably where the sleep deprivation really hit us.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to keep that as my defense.
And then I try to stand up for you at the end. I'm like, so let me get this. Let me try to point this out. And I'm like, you didn't even have to do that. Because when I was editing the episode, I was like, she dug herself in this hole. How dare she?
I think the worst part is I knew I did too. And I was like, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. I can't backtrack now.
So you gaslit me? So thinking you didn't mean that? Oh,
my goodness.
You know what? No, number 3 is the best movie, period.
No, we're not doing that. I can't do that.
The quality's worse. The acting's worse. The cinematography's way worse. There's blurry shots. What the fuck? But it's better.
Also, real quick, I forgot to mention, did you notice how filthy the film was for this movie? There was so much residue and debris on the film.
Yes.
Okay, it was just way too noticeable for me.
I got it. I think on mine, I even had when there's a cut in the film.
Oh, really?
The film cut. I had that a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I like having that on film because it shows we're really there type of thing. But this was clean that shit up, guys.
Also, this is the first one where they used a crane for the entire movie.
Yeah.
I get it. It's cool to have moving shots all the time. But here's the thing. That's not really going to work for this movie.
Right.
Especially when the last movie showed that, it could be really good. You just, you don't need crazy shit. You just need characters that get along. But I will say this. We're going to get into this movie. We're going to get into this haunt build.
Yep.
I'm so scared.
As am I.
I remember last episode I was like, this is going to be so hard.
This one takes the cake.
This is it.
This is it.
If we can do this, we can do anything.
Reach for the sky.
Oh, God.
All right.
I was so excited. I'm like, 3 is going to be the easy one because I love it. And I'm like, oh,
never mind.
Please, no. Can the house be gimmick is it's 3D?
And that's it.
I feel like I can get a little thing like a baseball bat 3D,
Woo, popcorn,
a rat 3D, a harpoon in 3D. Because I need something.
All right, let's attempt this haunt.
Oh, fuck me.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right, so I'm just going to leave this out here right now. I have nothing.
Neither do I. This is going to be great.
This is going to be great. You're about to see us. We're about to prove that we don't come into this with an idea. We just throw shit at a wall, hoping something sticks in the end. So, Paige, please, if you don't have anything, just give me something that sparks an idea.
Okay.
That's all I need.
I'll give it my best shot. Here we go. Okay. All right, so we start off in the van and we're going towards the cabin and we see the farm. So that's where we're heading towards. Then we go...
Oh, farmhouse.
Yeah, we're introduced to the characters, maybe with them opening the cabinet door, which Shelly's fake, blood. So we see all the characters together and kind of see their dynamic. We cut outside... Yeah, we cut outside through a POV shot, so we would be the point of view as Jason. We watched the buggy go down the street, going towards the grocery store. I skipped the entire scenes with the bikers. It felt unnecessary to me.
Same. I had no idea for that.
Yeah. So somehow we go to seeing Chris telling Rick about her trauma, and behind them we see it, playing out. Maybe Jason chasing past her. So we get an idea of her relationship to Jason. I don't know if there's anything in between, but then we go right to the deaths. Maybe Jason killing Vera, which is quote-unquote girl with the harpoon, because that was my favorite. We see maybe Shelly's throat slit because we need to see that. And then maybe...
You're nicer than me. I was not going to have any Shelly.
We then have the corpses of who I call Daphne, pregnant girl, and Andy in the bed, just to see how maybe they ended up dying. Chris and Rick. His name's Rick, right?
I believe
we're going to go with it.
If
it
not,
is now.
We are so fucked because I called him Rick the entire episode.
Chris and Rick come back, maybe see the bodies of the stoners just to bring it full circle to show everyone's dead. The pace starts to pick up on the ride. The final girl chase leads into the barn. We follow them after they go into the barn. We come to a sudden halt with Jason dropping down from the pulley and he's hanging, and it kind of hangs there for a minute until we get a jump scare with Jason reaching out to us, and that's how it ended for me.
Okay, so we're gonna have to piece this together in the
end.
Oh boy,
all right, what do you got?
You and I, we're gonna have to piece this together. Okay, I start facade. This is just going to show that you and I started in 2 different areas. Even though I like one of my beginning shots. We start at the Crystal Lake Diner. Which, is before we even get to the teens. Mm-hmm. We pass through the clothes and we see Jason's shadow walking through, the sheets, past the viewer. And we go into the bathroom. We see Wifey's dead body with the pipe in her neck. I guess it was the pipe in her neck. And this time, we fulfilled the jump scare of the movie, and Jason appears from the curtain as we're leaving the room.
Yes. Satisfy that.
We do good for this wife. We do good for her. Here's the issue. I have no middle because I couldn't think of anything. I had designer's block.
Okay.
So I was listening to you and I was like, oh, we have a great idea, but what if? Here's one thing I'll say. Do I think we cut out the bikers in total? No.
Okay.
I had an idea where we go through the barn house and we see them, like we see Skull on the ground, chains up top, and Jason comes to us with a pitchfork because, he got a pitchfork.
Of course, yeah.
We escape, but, he got a pitchfork. It's crazy. I have a question. I was writing down a couple of your ideas, and I blanked on something you had towards the middle beginning.
Sure. Is it... Well, you have to give me something. What?
I don't remember. That's my issue.
We see the characters together with the cabinet door. It's Shelly inside. Watching the buggy down the street. We see...
That was it. That was it. Buggy. Thank you. Thank you for the buggy. So here's my next scene. After we leave the bathroom, it's daytime. Ooh. I think that's the one thing that hurts this house a little bit is a lot of shit's in daytime in this movie. And we go to the cabin. We see the cabin. We pass the cabin. We see Chris's car. We go inside. And, well, actually, that wasn't it. We don't go to Chris's car yet. We see them leaving as we're getting to the cabin. We get to the barn. We get to what I was saying about the barn. We leave the barn. I did agree with you on the whole... It seems like... Here's the thing. I would rather not have the flashback scene in this house.
Okay.
Just because of trigger warnings.
That's fair.
About stuff
That's
that
fair.
could have happened. I feel like that's
very
there's
true.
a line that one scene kind of crosses it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So it's like, where do you go to next? You go to the deaths. Yeah. Now, one of my ideas was I agree with you that Vera's death needs to be there. We need girl to die. So I was going to say we're going past them. Jason shoots the harpoon, but the harpoon shoots right past the viewer.
And into her.
Into her.
Okay.
So it gets close to you. Yeah. Into her.
I like that.
So it's like, was Jason shooting at you? Was he shooting at her? It doesn't matter. He got one of you. We get to the house, and we're now upstairs. We get to the upstairs of the house. We're in the hallway, and we see them dead. We see Andy, and we see...
Daphne, I'm calling her.
Daphne or Sassafras.
Oh, yes, Sassafras.
Dead. But instead of it being like, oh, you just see them dead, we see Jason coming out from underneath the bed.
Ooh,
so it's like post.
I like that.
We see him coming out, and we just walk past him coming out. We go back down the stairs, and here comes Rick flying through a window. Because we're a little dead on jump scares right now. We need a jump scare. Rick and wind.
Love it.
Wind. All the wind. We run. We're getting to the barn house. Skull falls.
Ooh.
You know. But like he does in the movie. He just falls upside down. We're in the cabin. Oh, not the cabin. Sorry, the farmhouse, the barn. We stay still. Silence. We stopped. It's fine. We're in the barn. We hear Jason breaking in.
Ooh.
Ahead of us. We see him. So what we do is we run. He swings the door open. We run.
Towards him?
Basically.
Okay.
This is where, because this is the thing, this is where it gets hard, because it's like, do you just become Chris at this point?
Yeah, it would seem like it.
Does that mean we have to lock him inside a car?
No.
Lock him out of the car?
No.
All right, so how about this? We get in the cabin. We hear him. We hear him coming. We cross over into the next room. While we're in the next room, we see... Or we can just do he breaks in.
Okay.
So he breaks in. We hear Chris scream. We cross to the next room. We're on the top because I am not lifting people.
No.
I refuse to lift people. That's a different level of motion sickness.
Yeah.
I don't even like making people go through. And we see Chris throwing. Actually, you know what? As I was saying that, I actually have a better idea. We cross through. We hear a scream. We cross through. We are now in an area where the cabin is open.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the cabin.
Barn.
The barn's open. And as we're exiting it, we... the jump scare. The jump scare is that as we're leaving, Chris just drops Jason.
Oh, okay.
Just clunk.
In front of us.
And maybe
right?
he can hit our car.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
That was basically what my ending was for sure.
we go past, and while we go past, we leave the room. We escape, and here's my ending. I'll just bring out my ending. My ending is it's daytime.
Okay.
We're passing the main cabin. And Jason comes running out of the main cabin towards the
Yes, because
viewer.
that was the scariest freaking part of the movie.
I don't know what that scene was doing in the movie. It's haunting.
It really, like, no joke. I'm not joking about that. I was frightened.
It was a petrifying experience. I remember watching it the first time being like, I'm going to be paranoid for the next hour.
I like that ending.
He comes running towards the viewer. You know what we do? We nope the fuck out of there. We quantum leap to the exit. We get out before Jason can even see us. All right, so let's piece this together now, officially.
Okay.
Do we think starting at the diner is good?
It can be. I don't really have a beginning, so it can be. If we need
Okay.
the extra room, yeah.
So we'll start at the diner.
Okay.
The facade. So the facade is we enter the diner. We did the clothes because I think seeing him walking through the clothes and not even scaring the person is a kind of
like
haunting.
Something's here.
Yeah. The bathroom, it's a quick scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets us out of there. We get to the cabin. We get to the cabin as Shelly,
is in the cabinet type of thing.
So here's my question. Do you want to do it as he's in the cabinet or do you want to do it as he's leaving?
Either or. I mean, it would be good to be introduced to the characters all together, not with a character leaving. You know what I mean?
But what if I want him to leave?
As much as we do, he's part of the movie.
Oh, but is he part of our movie?
Well,
excuse me, I am just writing down, so when I sketch this out, I know what the hell I am doing. Okay, I'm at the bathroom. So, how about this? Because I feel like the only reason why I'm a little hesitant is we would be taking a person outside inside the cabin to take them outside the cabin again.
Right.
So here's my idea. We can have the best of both worlds. We can be outside the cabin, and they are pulling up. Chris's group is pulling
okay.
up. We're inside the cabin. We get the scare. Not the scare, but the... Oh, no, it could be a scare. We could see Shelly fall over.
Yeah, and then we ride through that into the barn, right?
So we leave the house. We see the car leaving as
Going
we're entering
into the barn.
barn.
Correct.
Yes. As we're entering the barn. Car is leaving. Or car leaving, enter the barn, just because there is a gap in that movie of shit happens at the diner or the store. We get there. We see the bikers. We see Skull. God, this movie has such a low body count to work with. And we see Chains. And they both have a pitchfork. And we get a Jason jump scare. With a pitchfork.
Shocker.
All right. At this point, we're going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be nighttime.
Okay.
We're going to get to Vera.
Harpoon death.
And she's going to die.
Yep.
Because that's one of the only deaths in this movie that counts. Once Vera dies, we see her die. We do a room transition. We're back in the cabin.
Okay.
We are in the hallway. And we're going past Sassy Frass
Andy.
And Andy.
And then Jason's coming out.
And Jason's coming out of the bed underneath.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because this movie's about him, and I need to make him appear more because there's a lot of rumors that have know him. What will happen next is we'll rush down the stairs.
Okay.
We'll do a room transition down the stairs. I'm not taking people down the stairs. And Mr. Rick will come in through a window.
When we come down the stairs, love it.
Yes, Rick comes through the window.
Go out the cabin.
Out the cabin. It's windy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
we're
windy.
We're kind of getting blown a bit. The car is shaking just a tad.
Yep. As we're leaving, Jason comes through the window.
Okay, like coming out behind,
Rick.
like as we're passing, coming up behind us, like he's gonna chase us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we're going into the barn.
Well, we got one more thing. While we're running into the barn, Skull falls down.
Yes.
Then we get the skull scare. And this time we're in the barn. We stop. You know, we think it's calm.
Mm-hmm. Then the doors.
And then we hear the doors slam open.
Mm-hmm.
We hear Chris. I think Chris's scream is probably the main scream. And we jet forward to the next room. The next room will be basically a revisiting of the what's his name? The cabin.
Okay.
Don't be giving me that look. You should know what I mean. It's the cabin. And we'll see Spider, his like disgusting machete body.
Yes.
On the ground. And the doors will be open as we're leaving. We'll see Jason fall from the pulley system that Chris like pushes him, falls on us. And then we go to the next room. It's a transitional room. And then we have daytime Crystal Lake.
And then it's calm. And then Jason comes.
We are leaving. We are safe. But no, we ain't, because Jason's now running at us with no mask.
And it is
and we quantum leap the fuck out of there.
And bada boom. That's it.
And we exit. And this ends the worst house we have designed.
Woo! Hopefully it's the worst out of all of them.
This movie had nothing to work with.
No, it didn't.
I thought 2 didn't, but at least 2 takes place at night a good portion.
Which makes it creepy.
3, it's like, I feel like 60% of this movie is during the day. And there's no scares. It's just like, Shelly fucks up. Yeah. And then Shelly fucks up. And I refuse to have Shelly in this house. I don't want him.
Understandable.
And it's like, you know, the stoners are there, but the stoner deaths aren't scary.
They just happen.
They're not characters.
Mm-hmm. They're caricatures.
And it's like, what, am I... Are we going to go to the cellar
No.
for like 5
No,
seconds?
thank you.
It's going to be stinky. Stinky cellar.
But I think we
that
did a good job with the little we had.
Yeah, this really didn't give us a whole lot. You know, something's weird when the first movie is giving us the best amount of content to work with, and that movie's dry.
But I love it.
I mean, it's right to love it, and you know, for creating a haunt, I think it's my favorite so
Same.
far.
But
2 was just
chaos.
we both got like a sudden stroke of a good idea, and we're able to work with that good idea.
This not so much.
This
was
shit
this
show.
was tough.
This is the one where I'm gonna be like, you can skip this haunt build, like you can
Just
move
Don't
along.
listen to this. It's fine.
You don't even have to look at
It's
it.
good.
You don't even have to look at it. Just move along. We'll come back with part 4. It'll be better. We promise. All right, you ready for the ending? To
Absolutely.
finish this up.
Let's get to it.
So am I. Go. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode. It's a little crazy because last episode you were sleep deprived. This episode I'm sleep deprived.
Oh, believe me.
Not a good thing.
I'm still
when
sleep
the
deprived.
person who's talking the most is the sleep deprived one. Next movie, though, we're going to Friday the 13th, part 4, which is the end of Human Jason.
Oh.
So this is the last we're going to get of this version of Jason.
Okay.
And you know what's the best part about part 4?
Hmm.
This movie stars actually 2 future Hollywood stars.
Oh, who?
Corey Feldman
Oh.
and Crispin Glover.
Get the hell out of here. No way.
That's right. That guy who's known to an entire generation, our generation, as the guy who sniffs hair and talks to rats.
Yeah.
Is one of the teens in the next movie.
Is this right before he was in Back to the Future?
Yes, this is where he was Biff.
Okay.
All right.
Or no, the dad. He was the dad.
He was the dad,
Yeah.
sorry. Yes, this is before that. This, I think, is his first movie.
Wow.
He is the awkward one.
I can totally see that from just his body type.
And he's also the character I hate the most in that movie.
Oh, great. All right.
Also, I'm just going to note this now. I said at the beginning, I'm going to say at the end. Going into this, I was really hoping that maybe you would hate 4 and I would hate 4. I'm really hoping you like 4.
Just so we can
'Cause
just have something to disagree on.
Yeah, because if not, it's going to be, what, another like hour and a half, 2 hour podcast of us. I can defend 3 at parts. I can't defend 4. So it's just going to be us ripping a movie for 2 hours.
Well, we'll see if I surprise you and everyone else and see if I actually like it or if I'm on the same boat as you.
And I also have some news.
Oh, what?
So, to people who are listening to this and have made it to the end, so like all 3 of you, last week after we were done recording our episode, Paige's exact words were, "Are we almost done yet?" And I was like, "No, we're on the second movie." And you said, "How many episodes do we have?" I said, "It's 13. Remember the joke? 13. Friday the 13th.
Right.
13. That then consisted of us having a 30-minute of us hysterically laughing, going into madness, and realizing we can't do this.
Not straight. We can't
Not
do
straight.
it all the way through.
Not straight. So we're gonna throw a little wrench. We're gonna do 4 movies at a time.
Much needed wrench, honestly.
Take a very short break.
Right.
For this break that's coming up, it's a 2-movie break where we will be covering a Christmas movie and a movie that's basically a parody on Friday the 13th. So we're not really escaping it before we come back.
We're staying on brand.
But that means that next movie, part 4, will be our goodbye to Jason for for the rest of the year, because we won't see him to the beginning.
That's
of the year.
true. We'll start the year off with Jason. Yay!
When it's Sunday, it's Jason. Baby. But that means there's a lot riding on this next movie.
Yeah.
Because if it's anything like this last episode, he's not going to be leaving on a good note. we're going to be coming back to part 5 and being like, I don't
want to.
Why are we going back to Jason? Can we cut? Can we just say we gave up? Can we tap out? But that's going to do it for this whole episode. I will apologize for myself not being super energetic and for my blood boiling, being like on set boil for probably 60% of this because of Shelly.
Oh, yeah.
I promise we'll be back. And I'll be more energetic next episode.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.